a good evening to everyone here in India and good morning to those joining from the US, and especially to Ms. Sarah Stackhouse from the University of Wisconsin Eau Claire. We'd really like to thank you for your kind time in presenting on this wonderful topic of essay writing, as it is so useful to all students, parents, and guidance counselors who are joining us today. The Knowledge at KPT series is an online free platform created with the purpose of fostering discussion and sharing of information between diverse stakeholders of the US higher education community, such as US universities and colleges, high school counselors, parents, students, etc., and other thought-minded leaders who are passionate about promoting the concept of a US higher education at the undergraduate level. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over the stage and the microphone to Miss Sarah, and please welcome in. And I'm going to put myself on mute as you begin your session. To the attendees who are participating, just to once again share, the first 30 minutes will be on her topic, and the next 30 minutes is going to be on her institution, and of course we're going to be having a Q&A, and we can do the Q&A at the end of the session so she can go over all the questions. So without further ado, thank you so much, Ms. Sarah, and I'll leave you to proceed. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I will go ahead and try to share my screen quick. That way you'll be able to take a look. All right. Oops. All right, so I hope you guys can see it okay. So my name is Sarah and I am from the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. So I am an admissions counselor, but also this past summer, I spent my time in India. I was in Lucknow and I was learning Urdu and Hindi. So I was there as a student as well. So, and I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. That way you can get a better picture and a better understanding. So I'm originally from the United States and I was an exchange student to Thailand in high school. So that was my very first abroad experience. And then I came back to the US and I studied for 2 years, and then I transferred to study in Scotland. So I did my studies in Scotland as well as in England. So I did also the US and as well as the UK. So I understand a little bit more of the US and the British systems and how different they are, and also their similarities. So I know as you're a student coming in and planning to study abroad, there's a lot of different factors and it can be overwhelming as you're trying to decide what makes the most sense for you and your family. So just know that I'm here for you as a resource. Any questions that you have, I'm happy to answer as the time goes on. So without that, we'll go ahead and get started. So this one here, I just put up a quick little slide, just so that way we can run through some of those essay writing topics. So the very first thing you'll find is, when you're applying to US universities, every one of us, right, will all have our own essay questions. And that can be a lot of commitment, right? As you're trying to write and answer all these different questions, and maybe you're applying to 10 universities, or maybe you're applying to 8 universities, right? And each of them might have 1 or 2 essay questions that you'll have to answer. And each of them have to be specific and unique to that university. And sometimes it can be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of writing. And, the main and the most important thing that you first need to start off with is the question, right? So what question are they asking me? And do I fully understand it, right? So if you need any clarification around the question they're asking, I definitely suggest, ask your counselors, ask some of your resources, right, that you've been using to see, like, what does this question actually mean? What is it that they want from me? A lot of times the schools will have you reflect on yourself, right? Or maybe you've had to overcome a struggle. Maybe it's, why do you want to come study here in the United States? Or why are you choosing our university? It's much like, in the future when you'll be applying for jobs, right? You have to answer some more of those difficult internal questions about yourself in order to better help the university understand you and who you are. And, I was going to say this one till the end, but at the very bottom here, you can see confidence, the bigger picture. That's one of the most important things, right? Is in an application, the essay is a part of it, right? It's not all of your application, but it does it does hold a lot of significance because, you will have your grades, right? Everyone will be sending in transcripts. Everyone will be sending in, possibly SAT, ACT, some form of TOEFL or IELTS. You have to have your English proficiency. So everyone will be sending in, financial records and bank statements and passport copies, all of those things everyone has. But the essay is something that's unique to you. And that's why really we put such an emphasis on taking the time to really understand and to put the time into writing a good essay, because that's really your time to let the university know who you are as a person, right? And that can be a lot of pressure, right, on one essay. But it's okay, that's the beauty. And even if you don't like writing, right, it's a really good time for you to expand your boundaries, right, to get outside of your comfort zone and to just go for it. Because you're going to have to write essays. Not every university will require essays, so that's some good news. But at the same time, there will be a significant number of universities that will require it. So that'll be one of the most important things, is getting outside your comfort zone and just going for it, right? Just starting, putting it on paper and going. So the very first thing is really making sure whatever the question is, you're taking the time to answer that directly, okay? So in order to do that, the next thing will be brainstorming, right? And by brainstorming, I mean, just write down your craziest ideas, write down, your passionate, like whatever it is that makes you who you are, write it down. It can be anything and everything, because once you have everything listed out, once you've done that brainstorming session, right, then from there you can gather your ideas and make sense of everything that you have. But if you leave something off the paper, right, when you're brainstorming, then it might be something that never comes into your essay, and that could have been something really important. So in the brainstorming session, you can just start making a list. You can list it out. You can start, I don't know if you guys know webbing, we call in the US, where you start with a circle in the middle, and maybe you write the question, or things that make me who I am. And then from there you can say traveling, my studies, maybe my family, my culture, or, and you can go on and on like that. And then from there you branch out. So in the brainstorming session, right, it's, everyone in their life has gone through something, has had some triumphs, right, have had things we've had to overcome, maybe have some unfortunate events. All of those things make us who we are as people, right? And each of us will have that unique experience. And the purpose of the essay is really to get out of you what makes you unique and what makes you a really good fit for coming to our institution. So sometimes students may not have the best grades, but it's their essay that really speaks to, right, the power of why they want to come and why they'll be a good fit. And a lot of times the essay can be a tipping point, right, in terms of an admissions decision, or maybe getting deferred. And so it really is important that, you take the time and do that reflection piece, which is the next thing, right? I really want you to reflect on your life, who you are, why you want to go there, why do you want to study what you want to study? What is it that makes this place feel like home for you? Because much like when we're applying for jobs, right, you have to understand why you want the position and what makes you a good fit for the position. The exact same way is going to be when you're writing your essay, is what makes you a good fit for University of Wisconsin-Oakland, what makes you a good fit for Cambridge, what makes you a good fit for, any other university that you're planning to apply for. And why do you feel that it is that way? Like, what is it in your mind that makes you decide, yep, this will be my home, this is where I want to study, and this is what I'm going for? The other bit in the reflection piece is really to understand, why is it you want to study the subject that you are interested in, right? So, one time I had a girl, she came to me and she's like, Sarah, I love architecture, but I also really love art. And she's like, I don't know how to decide. I don't know what to do. And it's like, well, actually, if you do come to study in the US, you have an option to pursue both of those, right? So you'll have an option to pursue architecture. Well, also maybe you take a minor in art. And she's like, yeah, but in my essay, like, they're going to think I'm crazy for wanting to study two different subjects. And I said, no, like, actually architecture is art in its own form, right? So architecture is building and making the world around us such a beautiful place, and making sure that we're safe, right? The practices are sustainable. That's the privilege, right, of being an architecture, is you're literally the land, right? The building materials, that's your canvas. And you're turning something, right? You're making something out of nothing. And all you have are your materials, people to help you make it happen. And then you turn it into a beautiful building that people drive by every day, right? Or people are inside of every single day. So it really is in that essay where you can combine your multiple passions that you have. So let's say maybe you want to study computer science, but also you're thinking, I should also go for something business related. Okay. So maybe if you want to develop an app, let's say, right, which will definitely involve a lot of the computer science stuff where you're learning the coding and everything like that. So, okay, what does that have to do with business? Well, if you have an app, you're going to have to market it, right? You're going to have to figure out who's it for, who's in the audience, right? Who am I designing this for? And you're going to have to work as part of a team. So you have to understand the team building. Maybe you're going to have to put a financial plan in place, right? So what is it that, what is my budget, and how am I going to use the resources that I have available? How about human resources? Maybe you're going to have to hire people. Talking about, the different subjects and how they overlap, right? I always like to think of it as a watercolor painting, because you'll have many different colors. You'll have the colors of your life, right? Of your experiences. You'll have the colors of the, what is it that you want to study? And maybe there's more than one subject. You'll have the colors of your dreams or your goals, right? The colors of what makes this institution such an awesome place and a place you want to come study. So all of these colors have to blend together as you're putting the wording, right? As you're formulating your essays. So it's definitely important to think what you want your colors to be. And then from there you can paint them, but without first knowing yourself, knowing why you want to go there. What is your motivation? And the next bit you can see starting and remember the why. So, I don't remember who came up with this, but I remember I was in a training once and they said, what is your dream? So if I say, okay, I'm just giving an example. Let's say if I want to build schools, right, as an architect, why? Well, I think, when I'm looking at, kids that don't necessarily have schools, I want to be able to provide them something that's sustainable, something that's resourceful, a place that's safe, a place that's secure for them. But why do you want to do that? Well, ultimately, I think, right, everyone deserves to have that same opportunity to have a place to study, have a place where they can go that's safe where they're learning. But why? So if you ask yourself why 5 times, right, the why, the why, the why, the why, the why, it really helps you to get down to the core of why you want to do something. So if you can say, yep, I want to study at University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, but why? Well, they have a lot of excellent programs. I love the beauty of the campus. The people seem really friendly. Okay, but why? Well, actually, I want to go to a place where I feel safe and I feel, confident in my learning, a place where they're going to expand my boundaries. But why, right? So as you get into more of those whys, you get to understand more and more about yourself. So, as you, in that reflection piece, as you are starting to think like, okay, why is it that I want to go to this specific school? Or what is it that I want to study? Why do I want to go for physics? Well, someday I hope to help, the world of aviation. Okay, but why? And that really helps you to get down to the basics, right? To help you to formulate, the deeper intention of what you're planning to do and the action you're planning to take. And, the next best thing you're going to be able to do is just start. I know that sometimes it's the hardest thing to do, but much like you're already in the process of, starting to figure out where you want to go, what you want to study, it's just like that. You just have to put a pen to paper, or you can start on the keyboard, right? And just start writing, start with something, start painting your watercolor painting. And as you're putting things together, and that really will be the beginning. I mean, that'll be the beginning of how you formulate your essay. And the other thing that's important too is if you have to answer 2 essays, right, make sure you're leaving, right, and categorizing which ones you feel like are better for the first one and which ones are better for the second, because you don't want to have too much overlap, right, between them. because you want to answer each question specifically, but then also, right, you have, maybe it's 500 words, maybe it's 200 words, right? You have that amount of words to make a difference in your application. So you don't want to spend that time repeating things that people already know. So, sometimes we'll get essays that say, oh, well, my grade point average is this. These are the things, these are the subjects that I studied. Well, if you think about it, we as admissions counselors, we are getting your transcript, right? So on your transcript, we are going to be able to see your grades. Yeah. And we're also going to be able to see the courses that you took. So that's knowledge that we as an admissions counselor, we already have. Okay. So if we never got your essay, we would know that already. So the purpose of the essay is really to provide us an inside look into who you are. And sometimes that can be a little bit scary, right? I always tell my students, I said, it depends on you how much you want to share, how much you want to open up about your life, maybe about your struggles, maybe about your best achievements, maybe about your family. It really depends on you how much you're willing to open up your heart and to really put yourself out there. Because some of the best essays that we've read through, you're not writing at a surface level where people they just get to know, okay, these are the subjects I like, this is what my dreams are. Okay, but why? How did you come to that place? How are you being creative as you're going along? So those are I would say that's one of the most important things to think about, is like, the information you're putting into an essay should be unique to the essay. We shouldn't be able to necessarily find it in other aspects of your application. Yes, if you're passionate about, for me, it was ice hockey, right? Like, I was an ice hockey player growing up my whole life. So if that's my passion, definitely use that. We'll see it in your activities, yes, but use that as your motivation. Use that as your motivation as to how you're a team player, and how you're always learning, and you learn how to win, you learn how to lose, and why that's really important in the world of academics, but then also in life. So there's a lot of different things, but really choose something that you feel passionate about, because when you have passion, we can see that. We can your words articulate that passion to us. And for a lot of universities, that can something you think we want you to write about, you're not going to be writing from your heart. And really, when we read essays, we know when people are writing from their heart and really being specific to their life experiencing, the things that they've experienced, but also something that's unique to you. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. And really, like I said, it's just starting. Go ahead and draft something, even if it is like, oh my goodness, I tried my best, but it doesn't look good and the words don't look good. It's okay. You have to start somewhere. And as you're writing in English too, I mean, some of you might be in English medium schools, some of you might not be. So you really are putting yourself out there and just trying your best. And that's all really that we can ask for. So just take some time, start drafting. And then once you get there and you have, enough, make sure you're aware of the word count also. So that'll play a big role, right, in determining how much you write. And let's say if you're given 700 words, okay, let's just say, you should be using those 700 words. It's not something that we give you 700 and expect you, to send in 200 and think that's sufficient, because this is also a foreshadow, right, of your academic abilities. Because as you're writing, we can see it as almost if it's going to be like you in the classroom, right? How much effort are you putting in? How much research did you do in advance? The other thing to think about too is, as you're writing these essays for, let's say, maybe 2, 3, 4 other universities, right, that you're applying to, make sure that they are specific to the university that you are writing to in that moment. So sometimes, like I said, we're University of Wisconsin Eau Claire. Sometimes you get an essay that says, yes, I can't wait to study at University of Washington or University of Florida. And it's like, okay, well, that essay is not meant for us, right? And so then we know specifically, like, maybe they didn't take the time, right, into drafting a new essay that was specific to our university. Maybe they didn't realize that they uploaded the wrong version. But either way, when you are applying for college or university, it really is taking the time, to go through and think about, right, what you are putting into your application and rechecking and making sure, being responsible, right? Because this will be, one of the life events up until this point that will be big for you. And it's something that you want. And if it's important to you, you'll put in the time and you'll put in the effort. So just know that that's something else is, make it specific to your university. Maybe, I know for us, we have a motto, what we call the power of and, which I'll get to a little bit later. But, in your essay, maybe you want to talk about the power of and why it's so important to you and why you think that'll help you to thrive in your experience at Eau Claire. Or maybe, one of the other universities, they have a mascot. The mascot is like the character of the school and why that mascot means something to you and how you hope to live out, what the ideals of that institution are. So just as much as, you're deciding where you want to study, it's really important, like the location is one thing, but the university and what they stand for is another thing. For example, we're liberal arts, someone else will be a STEM school, right? So if you say, oh, I'm really passionate about STEM, this is why I want to study STEM, these are the things I'm most looking forward to, that makes it unique to that institution. And so as we are coming along, oh, okay, yeah, I just see the questions here. Okay, I'll get to those in just a second. Oops, sorry, I will just finish this bit here, and then we'll go ahead and we can get into some questions, and I'll tell you a little bit about my university as well too. But yeah, with the essay, as you are coming along, one of the most important things will be formatting. And, the formatting means you understand, right? What's the word limit? But then also, a lot of times now in the application, it'll just be a box where you just plop it in and go. And so, right, we know about paragraphs. We know approximately, right, how many sentences are in a paragraph. So as you're going along, each university is going to have their own standards for how they expect you to, provide the information, but then also, how long the essay will be. So it really depends on each university. If they don't give you a word count, my best advice is just saying, write as much as you can to express yourself in a way that you think the admissions counselor or the people doing the admissions can fully understand you and what you're trying to say. So some people can say that in 500 words, some people might take 1,000. It really depends on the narrative you're trying to provide. One example I can think of is a girl was talking about, she was talking about climbing a mountain and how this experience in her higher education meant, as she was applying, that she was about to climb a mountain to get to the top, right? To reach her goal of being able to study medicine. And how, with each step that she took, when you're climbing a mountain, the weather's not always going to be perfect, right? You're going to have to overcome barriers. You're going to have to overcome some struggles in order to get to the top. So she provided a more creative approach. When thinking about the essay, she took an experience or something that she wanted to accomplish and put it into a narrative that was really creative and really aspiring, So as admission counselors are thinking, wow, like, she's really put time and she's put her whole self into this essay. Those are people that we want to see at university, that put in the time, that show up, right? That, really put themselves into everything that they're doing. And then, after you have the formatting, right, just make sure everything's in paragraph form. Don't just plop in your whole essay. If it's 1,000 words, don't just, put it all together and say, okay, here's my essay. Make sure you take some time to separate it out into different paragraphs. And then make sure your margins, right, align as well too. So basically the starting point, so it looks clean. If you think it looks clean, it looks professional, then you've made it, right? Then it looks good. All right, in terms of revising, definitely have other people look at it. When I'm always writing, I have to write a lot of things. So when I'm writing, I'll draft up something and I'll let it sit for maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days, and then you come back and revisit it. And then in that time, you're able to go ahead and look through and see, okay, what changes do I need to make? How does this sound? Or, oh, here's this spelling mistake, right? So the revision process is going to be one of the most important things that you go through as you're going along, because right, it's how you're getting into, when you first started drafting up until the point where, yep, I'm ready to submit. So all of that revising will happen between there. And if you have someone, maybe you have a friend, maybe your parents, maybe you have an advisor, um, whatever resources you might have, a counselor that is willing and able to help you look through and just kind of look at your essay. Definitely use your resources. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff online as well too, that you can look for examples and brainstorming ideas. But the most important thing, um, when you're going through, is to make sure you do it yourself. Okay, is to make sure you put the effort in. You and your friend are not using the same essay, because universities find that, and that can be very damaging for you and your admissions decision as well too. So I would say, you can use, the resources you have as a guide, but definitely when it comes to what you're submitting, make sure you've written it yourself. Make sure you put your time in, right, to making it happen, and make it unique to you, because that's really what we're looking for. Each person is unique in the things that they've experienced, and our life as we know it, right? And so we want to be able to see that reflected in your application, that you yourself, you are unique. And why is it that our unique institution is a perfect fit for you? Okay. And then in terms of confidence, the bigger picture, yeah, it really is understanding that, the essay does play a significant role in the admissions decision. And at all universities, right, in the US, we have over 4,000. It really will make a difference as to, each university will put a different priority or a different significance on the essay. So some of them, you maybe have to submit letters of recommendation. Maybe you'll also have to submit, your extracurricular activities. Some universities will do more of a holistic review. Some will be totally based on grades. So it really depends on you and where you're planning to go. But just know, the most important thing you can do is, when I say confidence, is really to believe in yourself when you are applying. And yes, some of the universities you might not get into, but some of them you will. And, that's the most beautiful part of it all is, it helps you to write your own story of your future and where you're planning to study. And with that, like, the essay is the one unique thing in your application that allows you to share your opinion, your perspective on life, and really who you are, apart from your grades, apart from, your test scores. At my university, we really believe you're more than just your numbers. And what I mean by that is we really care. We really want to know who you are as a person, not just your ACT score, not just your TOEFL or IELTS score, not just your GPA, not just the courses you took. We want to know you as a person. We want to know you for everything that you stand for your beliefs, why you want to come study, what is your passion, what are your dreams, what are your goals, right? That's who we want to get to know through the essay. And so that's going to be, I hope that answers the majority of the questions, just kind of talking through that briefly. I think now I'll take maybe 10-15 minutes or so to go through just a little bit of information about my university. And then from there, we will go ahead and get into questions. Okay?
Right. Sarah, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. Thank you so much. I think what the resources you provided are very useful. I'm glad to see a few
Yeah.
questions on, and I'm really anticipating and looking forward to your answers. I know you've answered already a few of them. But before we
Yeah.
start off, we always have a quick poll for the
Oh,
audience.
sure. Okay.
And you can, of course, see the poll as well. And to the audience who are in session today, if you could kindly participate in the poll and let us know your thoughts, that will be useful. I'm going to be taking myself off the mute and mic, but if you can just let us know, the poll question will be up now on your screens. Have you heard of the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire? I think we can wait for another 5 seconds. Okay, so we have a couple of people who have participated. A good number of them have heard. I guess your recent visit to India may have helped, obviously, if that was on university official duty, I guess. But thank you so much to the audience who participated in the poll. I will let Miss Sarah continue with her presentation, whereby now she will be speaking about her institution and, of course, at the end of it, answering all your questions that we'll be having. Thank you, Ms. Sarah. Kindly continue. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. Can you guys hear me? I think you should be able to hear me okay now.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. So yeah, now we're just going to talk through the campus and community, our admissions process, and the different global opportunities that will be available to you as an international student at UW Eau Claire. All right, so I know I talked about this a little bit in the essay portion, but really this is our unique, way we empower students. So it's really what we call the power of and so, like I said, maybe you want to study geography, but also you have a passion for business, or maybe you want to study mathematics and also computer science, or maybe you want to study music, right? Maybe you absolutely love music and you want to study physics. Just know that in the United States, these are options that are available to you. So it's what we call the power of and. So rather than having to say, should I study arts or should I study the sciences? No, we empower you to do both. And if you look at jobs nowadays, it really will encompass a lot of the soft skills. And what I mean by soft skills will be, right, being a good person, being able to be part of a team, problem solving, and really thinking outside of the box, to solve some of the world's most complex issues. Those are all soft skills, right, that you gain in the arts, as well as having the technical skills, right, that you learn through the sciences, through business, and being able to blend those together. And so it's our unique thing that we really promote this idea. And I'm sure a lot of you love to eat, much like I love to eat. Okay. um and so when I think of the education in the US, or I think of education at Eau Claire, it really is like buffet style. And buffets, right? Where you go and you can choose anything and everything that you want. So you can really mix and match and put whatever you want on your plate. There'll be a major, maybe a double major, a minor, certificates. Maybe you also want to learn a language. So let's say if you're coming for engineering, but you also want to learn German, right? German engineering, if you think of that way. Or maybe you need to learn Chinese or Japanese or French or Spanish, especially if you're in the US, right? um, so there are a lot of different opportunities and ways that you can make your degree and to make your program what you want it to be. The other thing is, right, maybe your parents, right? I know maybe your parents say, no, I want you to go for medical, I want you to go for biology, I want you to go for engineering, something like that. But really in your heart you're thinking, but I love to draw, or I love to do music, or I love to study languages. Know that with this, the power of and, right, you're able to take your parents guidance and to accept, right, anything that you guys have discussed that you want to study, while also being able to study something that your heart is super super passionate about. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this. And when I see the power of and, like, it really always makes me feel empowered. Like, students can actually go for their dreams, they can study everything that makes them who they are. And I think that's something that's pretty unique to UW Eau Claire. Just a little bit about our campus, yeah. So we're about 10,000 undergrad students, 10,700 overall. So what does that mean? So at UW Eau Claire, we're specifically an undergraduate institution. So that means all the research opportunities, right, are going to be available for you. So we don't have teaching assistants because we don't have grad students. So all of the research funding, right, and the research opportunities that we have available are reserved for undergraduate students. So that's something that's really cool. If you're passionate about doing research and getting hands-on involved in different projects, you can start that year 1, year 2, year 3 as an undergraduate student. where at some of the larger universities, you might only be able to do those type of activities as a graduate student. So definitely keep that in mind as you're trying to figure out, right, what's a good fit for you as you come to study in the US. And just know that there are, a lot of opportunities for you as an undergraduate student. Okay. We talked already about what liberal arts means, but really, when people think of liberal arts, they think of painting or music, right? Maybe drawing, something like that. But liberal arts is so much more than that. It really is taking your profession, let's say if you're a biologist, right? And understanding, right? What does biology have to do with the wider world, right? So when you're thinking about, right, the environment, maybe you're thinking about geography, maybe you're thinking about, different languages, right? How can language and biology, what do they have in common, right? Maybe you need to go to, let's say, France, right, for a conference on, the environment. Well, then you'll be able to speak French, right? You'll be able to make that cultural connection through the power of language. Or let's say maybe you're thinking about, again, any job, let's say if you're going for engineering, anything you're going to be doing in the engineering field, like I said, you have to be able to manage a budget. You're going to have to be able to work with people, be part of a team. You're going to have essential skills, right, to be a good communicator, to give your presentations, to give your proposals, right, in front of different audiences. You're going to have to be also to bargain, right, and to say, oh, why my project should be the best project. So you're going to have some business and marketing skills as well too. So all of those things in engineering, you think, oh, I'm just going to learn, the science and math. Absolutely not. Nowadays, you need to have so many more of those, what we call, again, I said, soft skills. But really being a good person, understanding what I'm doing in India or what I'm doing in the US, how is that affecting everything around the world? And so it really is putting yourself in a perspective of how can I use my degree? How can I use my passion for a subject for the greater humanity? And so I think that's one of the most beautiful things about liberal arts is it really allows you to see the bigger picture. So if you have any questions about liberal arts, I'm more than happy to answer those as well once I'm done going through all of this here. We have over 80 different majors and minors. So I did just want to show you if I can get it here. So this is our website, University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. And then if you go to academics here, majors and minors, okay, that'll bring you to this page here. So you can go through and take a look at, all the different subjects. We'll have everything from biomedical engineering, chemistry, business, computer science, software engineering, like I said, languages, geology, German, global studies, everything, journalism, anything that you might be interested in. We have quite a variety, of different subjects. So definitely take some time. We also have material science engineering. So let's say if we click on that, it'll take you through all the different, most often there'll be a video just kind of showing you the space, everything like that. And then taking you to different job prospects, things that you might do for work, internship opportunities, where are our alumni now, working, everything like that, okay? So just know this is a really good resource for you on the website as well too. Okay. All right. The last thing I will just say quick, sorry, is you can see down here, this is going to be our average class size. So I think that really speaks to you, as you're walking across campus, much like, you see the people here, your professor might be like, Sarah, how are you? And you're like, oh, I'm so shy. And, it really is a very homey environment, where you get to know everyone, but it's also big enough where every single year as you get new students coming in, you really get to meet new people. But we really pride ourselves on being, a true sense of community that you can really become a part of. I won't spend too much time on this, but like many other universities all across the United States, we do have a lot of different clubs and organizations. So if you thought about wanting to try something new, during your time with us, definitely if you want to try ice hockey, I can teach you that. But if you want to try skiing or skating or water skiing, horseback riding, there's so many different things that maybe you've always wanted to try, photography, that now you can have the opportunity to. And we truly believe, it's not only what you're learning inside the classroom, but it's your whole educational experience, right? As you are planning to come and study, it's just as much as what you learn inside as what you're learning outside, to become part of a community, exploring those passions that you have. And university is really the time for you to flourish and become the person that you want to be, and really to try take advantage of all the opportunities available to you. So just know that we do have a lot of clubs and organizations that you can take a look at joining and becoming a part of. Now I want to try something here. This is just a campus map quick, just so I wanted you to see that we have the river running through campus. It's absolutely beautiful. But what I'm going to try and do here now is to play my video, but I'm not sure if the sound will come. So let's see how it goes. But if not, even you can just see what campus looks like. Can you guys hear the sound?
Unfortunately, we can't, Sarah. Sorry.
Okay.
Perhaps the audio is muted.
Okay. All right, so that was just a little bit, sorry you couldn't hear the audio, but on our website, you'll be able to go through and see all the videos. I just wanted you to get a quick overview of campus and what it looks like. So we really are quite fortunate to be, situated in nature, but also being able to be in a city where there's, you can see here our population is 67,500. So for you, those of you in Mumbai, you're probably like, what? Like that is so small. But really in the US and especially in Wisconsin, this is like a medium-sized city, if you can imagine. So definitely you'll have a lot of restaurants, coffee shops, places to hang out. And really why I decided to move to Eau Claire was because for me, right, studying in Europe and really being able to walk everywhere, being in nature, but then also having coffee shops and just that more relaxed pace of life, that's really what I found in Eau Claire. And it really is, a beautiful blend of nature and city, and that's perfect for me. And so, as you're choosing a place of study in the US, that's definitely something you're going to want to think about, right? Is what is the best environment that's suited for me? Do I want to be in a downtown urban environment? Do I want to be somewhere where there is nature? Do I want a blend of both? Right? So as you're thinking about where you want to study, definitely know that Eau Claire, it's a really safe community. I know there's a lot of news going on right now, right? As I'm sure you're hearing about all the things that are happening in the US. So just know that Eau Claire, even for me as a female, I'm okay to walk around at night. I feel very safe. I feel very confident, in the environment and everything there. So just know that we have, we take the precautions that we can to make sure you have a safe environment as well too. This is just another video here about the city of Eau Claire, which I think we'll have to skip just because you can't hear the audio, but just know that you can go ahead and watch this anytime as well online too. Okay. All right. So just so you guys know, our deadline for this coming fall just passed, but we still, for the rest of this week, we still are accepting applications. So if there is anyone who wants to come for fall, know that we'll be a little bit flexible. Okay. Otherwise, if you're planning to come in spring, our deadline will be November 1, and then for next fall will be June 1. Okay. So I do just want to take a minute here and show you our admissions. Okay, so if you go up here to admissions, international student, and then if we go down to here, the international student application. So this one will talk you through all the different things that you will need to have and the things that you'll need to do in order to apply. So the very first thing is the UW online system application, okay? So that'll include one essay. So all the essay writing stuff we just went through, keep that in mind. But yeah, so you'll have one essay question, and then the rest will just be mostly the information about you, your families, you know, what subjects you studied, where did you study, everything like that, okay? And then we do have a $25 application fee. We will need some form of English proficiency. Mostly, we do see the TOEFL or the IELTS, okay? So TOEFL will be around 75, IELTS will be around 6.0, okay? And then we'll need the financial verification form, okay? So this one, you can see here, and I'll get to tuition and scholarships in just a little while, but this will be the form that you'll need to fill out, just basically saying, yep, we have enough money in the bank, the certified bank statement, your official transcripts, okay? And then the passport copy. So that's pretty much all we're gonna need in order to go ahead and process your admissions application. So we don't try to make the process too complicated or, you know, making you work too hard to, you know, gather all the documents and everything. So this is pretty straightforward. This will be all the information that you need. And it looks like we have a couple questions coming in, but I will get to those in just a few minutes, okay? All right. So the next bit here, as you can see, tuition is roughly going to be around $17,500, okay? Housing and meals to live on campus is around $8,000, give or take. And so as a first year student, you are going to be required to live on campus, okay? But then year 2, 3, and 4, we have students living all throughout the community. And the good news is there's a lot of student rental properties right next to the campus. So very, very user-friendly in terms of finding other places to live after you spend your first year on campus, okay? And then health insurance is going to be around $1,800. So you can expect your total, like on an annual basis, to be roughly around $27,000. Okay. Then also we do recommend an additional $2,600 for personal expenses. So, you know, that's why your I-20 cost, if you're aware of the term I-20, will be roughly around $30 or $30,000. Okay. So the I-20 is the document that UW-Eau Claire, if you're admitted, will issue you. So go ahead, so that way you can book your visa appointment. Okay. So yeah, I-20 costs will be roughly around 30,000 USD, but tuition on an annual basis is roughly around 17,500, which brings me to scholarships, our favorite, right? And so yeah, definitely we do give a lot of money away in scholarships for international students, okay? The scholarship range per annual is about $2,000 to $6,000. So once you submit your application, we'll go ahead and have you submit your scholarship application. And we determine how much of the $2,000 to $6,000 you'll be granted based on 4 criteria. So the first bit will be your academics, okay, so your grades, your extracurricular activities, okay, there'll be an essay question, as well as financial need. So if you say, oh, right now, you know, the rupee is at this price and, you know, my family's experiencing financial hardship, like this is our situation, we will definitely take that into account for the scholarship to determine how much you'll be awarded, okay? But like I said, it's $2,000 to $6,000 guaranteed every year. So let's say if you get the $6,000, and if you subtract 6 off of here, you're looking at roughly around $21,000, right? For everything, including your tuition, housing, meals, and health insurance for the entire year. Okay. So that's just a little bit about that scholarship. We'll also have honors scholarship, which you can apply for as well to be holistically reviewed. So we'll have honors. We also have some research scholarships available too. So just know that there are some other opportunities as well for financing, but majority-wise, this is going to be the International Student Scholarship that we have available for you as an incoming student. Questions we also get a lot of times is, can I work on campus? You know, what's the deal? So yes, definitely we have over 3,500 part-time jobs available for part-time for students. So as an international student, you have great job prospects on campus. If you're hoping to work or if you're planning to go for computer science, IT, you know, we do have some IT jobs on campus. If you want to work in the library, if you want to get paid to do undergraduate research, a lot of opportunities for you there as well. You know, you can work with me in admissions, right? How much fun would that be? So definitely know there's quite a few and a variety of options for you to go ahead and work on campus to help support yourself and, you know, some of your financial, you know, needs that you might have. The other thing to think about too is we do have what we call resident assistant position, which is basically where you're a leader in the dorm. So that basically means, right, you're working in the dorms, right, to make sure everyone is safe and healthy, everything's going okay. And with that job, you get free housing, free meals, and then you get a stipend every month as well too. So if you imagine taking off housing and meals, like let's say if you take off the 8,000, right, you get the $6,000 scholarship, your costs significantly reduce, right? So a lot of our international students will go for the resident assistant position, but you will have to be on student, or you'll have to be study on campus as a student for 1 year before you can apply for that. So you can look at doing a resident assistance job as your second year on campus. Okay. All right, and just lastly, I just want to touch base quick before we get to all of your questions. You know, that we really do pride ourselves on those external opportunities. So, right, it's not only what you're learning in the classroom, but rather it's going to be what you're learning in life, right, that helps to make your degree and your experience what it is. So yeah, definitely we have internship opportunities. A lot of our students will pursue those. But the other thing I really want to talk to you about is what we call study abroad and also national student exchange. So maybe some of you are trying to decide, should I study in Canada? Should I study in the US? Should I go to Australia? Should I go to the UK, right? Where do I want to study? And just know at UW Eau Claire, we have a lot of study abroad programs, okay, available to you. So some of our students will spend a year in the UK. Some of them will go for a semester to Canada. Some of them will go for, right, sometime in South Africa, maybe somewhere in Europe. So definitely know we have a lot of study abroad options for you as an international student as well. Obviously, you'll have to get the visa for those countries, but you know, the most important thing is, you know, if you are trying to decide between those other countries, just know that that is an option for you as you are pursuing your undergraduate degree with us. So if you do want to spend a semester in the UK, we can go ahead and help you, you know, make sure you have your application for the visa and, you know, to see if you can study in the UK. And you know, if you want to go to Canada, maybe it's taking a semester there as well. Or in the summer, right, we'll have 3-week or 3-month opportunities for you, you know, so that way you're doing something productive with your summers in another country, right? How cool is that? So definitely keep that in mind as you are looking at universities. Ask them what study abroad opportunities are available for me as an international student, and how much, you know, how am I able to pursue that as part of my degree program. So let's say if you're studying, let's say just chemistry, okay? You know, chemistry is going to be chemistry in the US, it's going to be chemistry in the UK, it's going to be chemistry in South Africa, it's going to be chemistry, right, in a variety of countries around the world. And so you'll definitely be able to take some of those chemistry courses abroad, right? And so that's just one really unique way to make the world your classroom, right, as you are exploring being an international student. The other thing I want to talk to you about is what we call National Student Exchange. And so the UW Eau Claire is part of a network of 200 universities across 48 different states. So let's say if you want to study marine science, right, you're passionate about, you know, the underwater world, right, let's say. So you can definitely, you know, look at opportunities to spend, you know, a semester in Hawaii, a semester in Florida, if you want to do that. Maybe you have family in Texas or in New York or Florida, right, Minnesota, and maybe you want to spend a semester or a year closer to them. You know, you can join one of our partner universities, paying our Eau Claire tuition, right? The same cost as it costs you to go to Eau Claire, you can pay to go study in some of these other states across the United States. Maybe if you're studying computer science, and you want to have a semester in Silicon Valley, right? So you're looking at different college and university partners there to spend a semester. So that way you can understand and get familiar with the environment. Obviously your living costs will change depending, right? If you're in Eau Claire, if you're downtown New York City, that will change. But tuition wise, you will pay the same Eau Claire tuition to study at these other, sometimes larger, sometimes smaller, sometimes public universities all across the United States. So that's something that's a really, really unique opportunity. A lot of times students think, once I choose my university, that's where I am for 4 years. It doesn't necessarily mean that at all, actually. And, you know, there's so many global opportunities, but as well as opportunities across the United States to go ahead and make, right, your experience what you want it to be. So my best advice to you is find something that fits with your budget financially, right? If you find something that's a good financial fit for you and your family, just know that there will be so many other opportunities for you. If you want to study in New York, you want to take a 3-week immersion trip, down south to the southern part of the US. Maybe you want to spend, some time exploring the West Coast, the East Coast. You can do that a lot of times at universities, through different exchange partnerships that they have. So definitely keep an open mind, right, as you are exploring your institutions and where you want to study, because there are a lot of opportunities available to you. And sometimes you'll be like so overwhelmed because there are so many, but that's the beauty, and that's the part of, becoming, an adult through your education, is really, getting the knowledge and learning what you want to do with it. So again, my name is Sarah. So yeah, thank you all for joining me today. This is my WhatsApp number you can see here, as well as my email address. So I'll leave that one up. And I guess we will go ahead and start with questions.
Yes, absolutely, Sarah. If you could kindly proceed with the questions, and thank you so much for that information that you just shared. And I'll leave you to begin the questions, and I'll again go back in. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks. All right, so the first question is, if I plan to take a gap year this coming year due to the virus, what should I include as the reason for the gap year? Will it affect my admission? That is an excellent question. Right now, with everything that's happening with COVID, there's a lot of things that are left unanswered, and everyone's trying to figure out, what can I do, where can I go, what's happening, can I get a visa, are the embassies open? There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and I think all of us in higher education will absolutely accept the fact, right, that you had to take a gap year. There was no option. But I think it really is, I mean, sometimes, even now I have my students telling me, my parents won't allow me to come for this year. What should I do? Or, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a visa appointment in time. What should I do? And I think it is in your essay, right? In your essay question, that you can address some of those things as part of your application, that, I was ready to come for fall of 2020 and COVID happened. And literally any person around the world will feel the impact of those words, because we're all dealing with that right now, right? It's a very much a reality of what we're living in. So I think absolutely it's no issue if you plan to take a gap year, even if it's a semester that you plan to defer, or if it's the whole year, to save up some more money, something like that. But I think it is really addressing the problem or the situation right head on in your essay question, and being vulnerable to saying, this is why I had to postpone because of COVID, and this was my situation. And I don't think you should have any issue about that as well too. And I think also when it comes to visa appointments, right, your visa is another issue or another step, right? Again, the same thing. It's really being transparent with the visa officer. I had everything ready to go for this fall, but I needed to defer because of, the COVID situation and how that really impacted your life. A lot of people will be saying COVID because of COVID, but what is it that meant? What is it that COVID changed your situation that you decided to wait that extra year? Okay, I hope that answers, your question. Okay. Should we include it in my essay, what career opportunities I plan to pursue after my studies? Great question. Yeah, absolutely. If that's the route you want to take, definitely you can tie your end career goals into, what you're planning to study during your time at the university. So you can say, something like, my dream is to, right, build schools all around the world. And, what is it that's going to help you to get there? What is it about this university that has that impact on you that will allow you to pursue those other opportunities, right? That will allow you to pursue those career goals that you have in mind. So definitely, for sure, tie in those end career goals that you've maybe been dreaming about since you were 5 years old. Go ahead and tie those into how this university will help you to accomplish the goals that you want to achieve. All right, how long should an essay typically be? So yeah, it really is going to vary. Some universities will have a specific amount of words that you have to fulfill. Some of them will say, as long as you answer the question, it really doesn't matter to me how long, how much you're typing or how long it is. So really, you're going to have to feel that out for yourself. And I'm sorry, I can't be more specific or give an exact answer on that. But really, it's really going to depend on you, how you're using your words to say what it is you mean, or what it is that you want, or what it is you're trying to convey in the message. And as long as you feel like you've answered that it doesn't really matter if it's 500 or 1,000 words. If you can answer it in 500, because that's the way you write and you felt everything, you said everything that you wanted to say, then I think that's perfect. And my best advice would be, don't make it too short, but then also don't make it too long, because right, as you think you're one person, many universities are reviewing, you know, hundreds and hundreds of applications, right, every year. So I would say strike a balance between getting your point across, being concise, but making sure that we know that you've put in time, you've put in effort, you know, into your application and into the essay. Okay. Okay. Can a strong essay which specify the institution overcome slightly lower grades? Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is, if people aren't necessarily or haven't in the past had the strongest academics, you know, the biggest thing that we want to see is, okay, like, you cannot change, you know, those situations in the past, but what are you going to do at university to make the difference, right? So you know, maybe like on our campus, I would just say, like, we have a lot of academic support systems in place, right? We have tutors, we have a writing lab, we have a math lab. So let's say if you're not as strong in the math lab, you'll go through and you'll learn, right? You'll have people available that are there to help you, you know, with certain aspects that you're struggling with. That way you can improve. So it really is knowing the resources on the campus and how you plan to take advantage, or how you plan to use those resources to help you become stronger in your academics. So it is really about addressing the situation, why were your grades might not have been the highest, or, you know, maybe you had a huge family situation, or, you know, some unfortunate event that happened that really took a toll on your ability to perform in school and to do your best. And it really is, like I said, it depends how much you want to open your heart into letting us know about those things and how comfortable you feel opening up about those situations. And, you know, with that, we can have a better understanding as to why the grades were the way they were. But if you just say, I didn't have the best grades in high school, that I'm really looking forward to university, I can't wait to come, you're not addressing the situation, right? And that's really, you can use your essay question to address, why were your grades slightly lower? What was it? What was the situation? What was it in your life that had impacted that? And then not only that, but how do you plan to change it for the future, right? Again, that reflection piece, like, what am I going to do in the US at a university to make my grades better? What is it that I'm going to commit in time, in resources, in energy, in effort, right? What is it that I'm planning to commit? How am I going to make a difference, right? So that way at university, I won't have those same academic struggles, okay, in my grades. So I guess I hope that helps to answer your question, but definitely you can address it in an essay question, and be, you know, open your heart as much as you can, because that really gives us a bigger picture as to why your situation is the way it is. Can you share how important my essay would be when compared to transcripts, letters of recommendation, or extracurricular activities? Yeah. Great question. So it really, I know, I'm sorry to say this, it really depends on each university. So each university is going to have their own criteria of how they, you know, assess the application. So in some cases, at universities, transcripts will be the most important thing. End of story, right? Some cases, it's going to be the letters of recommendation, the extracurriculars, like you're saying, the essay question, and the transcripts all together in what we call holistic admissions. So I would say, if you're planning on having all of those factors, if you want all those factors to count, you're going to have to look for universities that give a holistic admission approach. Does that make sense? So you're going to want to find universities that are saying, yes, we want to, you know, hear, you know, from your counselor, from your teacher, how great of a person you are. We want to know that you are involved in sports, robotics club, music class, volunteering. You know, that's, volunteering is a very big thing in the US. So if you are planning to come stateside and looking for admission, I mean, I suggest you do it anyway, right? Because volunteering is really such a good thing to do, but definitely take some time and figure out how you can do some volunteering, you know, within your communities online, whether it's tutoring, you know, whatever it might be, just be creative, because that will also make a very big difference in your extracurriculars as well too. But yeah, so the essay will be a very important factor. for schools that have essays as part of the admission process. So some of them won't. Some universities do not have an essay question. They're going to look solely at your grades, maybe a recommendation, extracurriculars, and that's it. So any university that has an essay question out there will make it a priority to review the essay as part of the application. So it will be very important for universities that have the essay as an option, because otherwise we wouldn't be considering it as part of admission. Okay. Yeah, what are some topics that universities ask as essay questions? So yeah, it really will depend. You know, sometimes they'll ask you about yourself, like, tell me about yourself. Okay, like, where am I supposed to begin, right? So, you know, there's a lot of things that's why I said the reflection piece about yourself and why you want to come in. Who are you? Who are you as a person? That reflection piece will be very important, you know, as you're talking about yourself. And I know in some cultures it's quite different. You know, I lived in Thailand. Like I said, I've lived in India. You know, I've lived in Europe. I've lived in the US. You know, all these different places, we have different cultures and different ways of communicating things about ourselves. Um, you know, and in the US, like, you in your essays you have to be confident. Yeah, not too confident where it's like I'm the best at everything. No, no one's the best at everything, right? But it really is important to believe on yourself and to have that confidence, and to know yourself, right? Again, that reflection piece. So some will ask you about yourself, some will ask you about maybe your biggest struggles that you've had to overcome. Right, so what is it in your life that you've experienced that has made you who you are? What life experiences have you had? Why do you think this university is a good fit for you? Like, why do you want to come here? The US has over 4,000 universities. Why is it you're choosing my university to apply to, right? So yeah, there's going to be such a variety, and you know, some of the essays questions will have some overlap. So if you're applying to 5 different universities, you'll be able to have, right, some of that same information in your essay questions. But as well as, right, like I said, you need to make it unique to each institution that you are applying to. Okay. Yeah. Can you please share how double majoring works in the United States? Would my degree be extended for more than 4 years? Great question. So yeah, so double major is something that's super awesome, by the way. And so a double major is basically like taking 2 degrees, okay? So a lot of times when you think, oh, I have to take 2 degrees, does that mean it's going to take me 8 years? No, absolutely not. It doesn't necessarily have to take you that much time. Now, let's say if you're taking music and let's say computer science, is there a lot in common between those two? No, not so much, right? Let's say if you're taking computer science and software engineering, are there going to be some overlap in the courses? Yes, absolutely. So as you're looking to double major, it's really, the time it's going to take is really going to depend on all the external opportunities that you take advantage of. So by that, I mean, like, let's say if you study abroad 1 semester, or let's say if you do national student exchange 1 semester, or maybe you know, as you're planning your double major, depending which 2 degree subjects you're studying, how does the overlap of those classes look like? So at my university, the tuition that I said, that around 17,500, that includes anywhere between 12 to 18 credits per semester. Okay, so some universities, and I'm sorry, it's all so complicated, you know, every university has their own way of functioning. So really, when you're searching to study in the US, you have to see each university for university. You have to see them for themselves. What is their process? How does their tuition work? Everything like that. But for us, you know, like I said, it covers between 12 to 18 credits. So normally in the US, a class, college course will take normally around 3 credits. So that means anywhere you're taking 4 to 6 classes per semester. Okay, that's what your tuition covers. Now, I always tell my students, it depends on you. Are you going to take 4 classes, or are you going to take 6 classes? Right? If you're taking 6 classes, that's 2 more classes per semester, right? That will eventually add up into another major or into a minor. So a minor is just going to be a smaller version of a major. Okay, so that's something else you can think about. If you're like, oh, I don't think I can manage a double major, it's too much time, it's too much, you know, it might extend my timeline too much, but I think a minor is a great option. Yeah, no issue. You know, we've had people finish 2 majors in 4 years. They've done it. We've had people, you know, finish a double major in 4.5 years. It really depends on you, and maybe it's 5 years. It really depends on you, how many subjects you want to take per semester. Are you studying in the summer? What other opportunities are you taking advantage of? Did you pursue an internship, right? Did you do national student exchange? Did you decide to study abroad? And what your degree programs are. So yes, it is manageable to complete it in 4 years. We've seen people do it, but at the same time, to be realistic, no, it can also be extended by, I would say, 4.5, 5 years. So it really depends on you, okay, the university, the courses you're taking, everything like that. So there are a lot of factors that go into it, but the main thing is if you know upfront that you want to do a double major, then from there in your orientations, you can discuss with your academic advisor, okay, these are the 2 majors I want to take. What courses, how can we lay this out so I finish in 4 years? What are we looking at? How many classes do I need to take? What programs, how will it all fit into my schedule? So if you have a better idea about that up front, you can plan for it, right, as you're going along to make the most of your 4 years. Okay. Oops. Okay, is it possible to do a business major and a minor in languages at University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire? Yes, great question. Absolutely. So yeah, definitely we'll have business majors. Depends what you want to go for business. We have regular business, we'll have accounting, we'll have marketing, we'll have international business. I studied international business, so that's my favorite. But yeah, and then also, yeah, definitely minors in languages. Like I said, we'll have Spanish, French, German. We have, I think, a sign language certificate, Chinese, Japanese certificates. So yeah, definitely know that you definitely have some options for minors, or as well as language certificates as well too. All right, hi, I just went through your website. I'm interested in pre-med major and psych minor. Okay, great. Can you share with how this works? Am I supposed to declare at the time of application or when I arrive on campus? All right, so for those of you that are planning on pre-medicine or pre-engineering, just know that those are not what we consider majors, okay? Those are what we call pre-professional tracks. So maybe you have some friends that are studying medicine in the US. I'm studying pre-med. Okay, pre-med is not a subject, okay? It is not a major. So what that means is you still have to choose a subject that you want to study. So when you're telling me here that you want to study psychology, you can do psychology as your major, and then be studying pre-medicine as your pre-professional track, okay? So basically, pre-med is a fancy word for saying, I want to study so I can apply to med school, okay? It is not a subject that you're studying. Basically, it means you're hitting all of the admission requirements that you'll need in order to apply to med school, okay? So yeah, definitely, a lot of our pre-med students, they'll major in something like biology, chemistry, biochem, molecular, psych, yeah, psychology. A lot of students will go that route, but what a lot of students don't know is actually, in order to apply, you can be a pre-medicine major and be a business, right? You can be studying business, or you can be studying history, or you can be studying physics, you can be studying biomed engineering, okay? So you have a lot of options that you can study and still be doing pre-medicine at the same time. I know it can be a bit confusing, so if you have other questions, you can message and I can clarify for you, but just know that yes, pre-medicine will be a pre-professional track that you can join, but you still are required to choose a major. So yeah, you will declare your major, so whether it's biology or psychology, something like that, at the time of admission, yeah, on your application. So you will say, yep, that's what you're interested in, and then when you come to campus, you'll let them know, I want to do pre-medicine. So what do I need to do, right? What are we looking at? Okay. Do we accept the Common App? So unfortunately, no. University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, we are part of the University of Wisconsin system application. So we have our own application. We are not on the Common App. I know a lot of people are like, oh, then it's so much effort. But actually, it's not that much extra. So our application doesn't take too long. I mean, I've had my international students fill it out in an hour, 2 hours if they already have the essay done. So you can move it along quite quickly, and then just make sure you get us all of your documents and everything like that. Okay, what are some of the most popular major and minor options for international students? Yeah, so right now we're just going to be starting our biomed engineering program, and that one seems to be very popular. But majority-wise, we have a lot of students that come for psychology. We're very well known for psych. We have students coming for nursing, whether in, in other countries around the world or not. But in the US, nursing is a very established professional option. In nursing, you can do quite well. You have great earnings. So some students will also come for nursing. We have computer science, software engineering. That is very big. Business programs will have. We're also very well known for music. So let's say if you want to study business and you want to do a minor in music, very, very common amongst our international students. But majority wise, I would say we see a lot in the IT, as well as in the sciences. We also have some coming for journalism. So journalism is very good as well too. And then like our political science program. So if you're interested in international relations, we call poli-sci, but yeah, political science. Those will also be quite popular as well too. And then in terms of minors, really it's all over the board, meaning that, like I said, you'll have students that will study business and then they'll do something as a minor in a language, or they'll study something in geography, or, also maybe they want to do something in political science, something like that. So yeah, definitely a lot of options. When you look online, you see over 80 different majors and minors. Then you'll go through and you'll say, okay, like I have a lot of options to choose from. Okay. Okay. What are the admission requirements? Sorry, what are the admission requirements if I'm interested in joining your soccer sports team? All right. So yeah, definitely we'll be starting our soccer program for next fall. Okay. So we will have a coach that's looking to create the men's soccer team starting next fall. So this whole year, we're very interested in developing our the team and who's going to be joining. So admission requirements stay the same, absolutely. But if you are interested, I can put my email again in the chat. And then you can get in touch with me and I can get you in touch with our soccer coach. So that way you can start having some conversations. A lot of times if you're planning to play sports, we are a Division III school. So we do not offer any other scholarships per se in terms of the sports. But we do have Division III athletics. So that is competing in the NCAA, right, in our US college athletics. So we'll have volleyball, we'll have soccer, we have hockey, we have swimming and diving, track and field, right? We'll have a lot of different, the only thing we don't have is cricket. I'm sorry, but hopefully we can start a cricket team soon, just for fun. So we'll have those at the Division III level, but then we also have what we call like the intercollegiate one. So just in our own little, university where students will play volleyball, like I said, horseback riding, skating, skiing, hockey, anything like that. We'll have a variety of ones that are just within the university themselves too. Can you go over what type of internships you offer for business students? Yeah, so I would say there's quite a variety. There's going to be a lot depending on if you're going into accounting, if you're going into international, if you're going into, I know right now one of our students, do you know Nestle? We call Nestle, I think you call Nestle. They make hot cocoa, they make chocolate chips, they make a lot of different things. So we have one of their production facilities in our city. So one of our international students is doing an internship with Nestle. Accounting students, they will, during tax season in the US, they will definitely have some time to go do internship opportunities with a lot of the tax firms within our city as well too. So it's really going to depend on what you're studying. But then also in terms of internships, a lot of students, right, if they go home for the summer, they'll pursue some internship at a global company in India, right, or within, another country as well too. So you do have a lot of options. It's my best suggestion that once you know which major you want to study, you can go onto the webpage there and then see what internship opportunities are available for that specific major too. The other thing for our business program is that we do offer once, twice a year, we have a business fair. So where companies, like global companies, will come into our university, and it's a career fair, right? So where you can line up internships, you can line up careers after graduation, and things like that. So that is a really neat opportunity for you to find those, internship opportunities available to you without having to leave campus. So if I've done IB for 12th standard, IB, we love IB, then do you waive the TOEFL IELTS requirements? Sure. So yeah, actually on our website, we have the equivalency. So if you've taken IB courses, you can actually just type in and see what equivalency will give, based on your grades, of course, what equivalency will give in terms of credit. So it will depend on which level of English that you took, in terms of the IB. So I'm not sure specifically of this one, but yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to work with you on your, to see, transliterate what the IB courses will come in as transfer credit. Great question. Are the scholarships renewable for each of the 4 years or only for the first year? Yeah, so the $2,000 to $6,000, that's guaranteed every year you study with us. So as you're coming in as an international student for 4 years, you'll get that 2,000 to 6,000. Let's say if you're awarded 5,000, you'll get 5,000 the first year, 5,000 the second year, 5,000 the third year, 5,000 the fourth year. But then also knowing that, with the as you go into your specific department, so let's say if you're studying psychology department will have other scholarships you can apply for, or business will have other scholarships you can apply for. So those other scholarships will be what we call departmental scholarships. So there will be more other scholarship opportunities for you once you become a student on campus. But this 2,000 to 6,000 is just going to be for the international students that are applying to come to UW Eau Claire. Okay, so but yeah, great question. They are renewable for each of the 4 years. Can you please share if you're test optional? Yes. So we are test optional, yay! So we do not require the SAT or the ACT, okay? So yeah, not requiring those, but we will need some form of English proficiency. So like you saw the TOEFL and the IELTS, if you did take the ACT or the SAT, that can also, like if you did give them anyways, we can consider those scores as your English proficiency as well, if your scores are high enough. So like if you've taken the ACT or the SAT, and your scores are high enough in the English, you would not necessarily need to take TOEFL or IELTS, okay? And the same thing with the IB, we'll look at that as well too. But yeah, we do not require SAT or ACT for admission purposes. If you have given the SAT or ACT and want your scores to be considered, we can definitely do that as well too. And let's say if you didn't do as good on it, you don't need to send us your scores, no issue, okay? How do I apply for the resident, okay, for the RA program? Is it open to freshmen? All right, so the RA position that I was talking about, where you get the housing, and the meal plans, yeah, and then a stipend. So you would have to be a student on campus for 1 year. So let's say we're just talking, right? Let's say if you came this fall, so this fall and then next spring of 21, you'd be able to apply for the RA position for the following fall, for fall of 21. So you have to be on campus at least for a full year. That way you get familiar, you know the campus, you know the housing, right? You get a lot more familiar, and then you're able to help the new students that are coming the following year. So yes, you would have to be on campus for 1 full year before you can apply for it. And then once it says, how can I apply for it? So once you come on campus, then you'll be able to find the different, we have what we call handshake. If you know handshake, it's like shaking the hand. So that's the name of where we have all of our job postings for the entire university and throughout the community as well too. But yeah, so as your international students, you will have to work on campus, so you'll look for those jobs. But yeah, the positions will be listed there too. Okay. What are the popular clubs and activities on campus? Can students start their own club? Wow, I love this question. So yeah, we have so many different clubs and societies on campus. So if you take a look, if you type in on our website, you'll be able to see everything. I mean, there's game clubs, like I said, there's all the sports. So if you like ping pong, table tennis, yeah. If you like badminton, any of the sports, there's music societies, choirs, dance groups, everything like that. You're also going to have your professional societies, so everything like biology or business clubs, so more of those professional ones where you're developing and competing in competitions all across the United States. There's also one for the finance group, right, where they're practicing doing mock stock exchanges and things like that. You also have volunteering clubs, you have international club, that get to do a lot of fun activities, things like that. So yeah, I mean, there's everything in between. And right, your question is, can I start my own club? Yeah, if you see something that's not there, we have poetry clubs, things like that. If you see something that's not listed, absolutely, we definitely promote students to start their own club and to make it really their own. And I think that's the beauty of having so many opportunities to participate in and outside of the classroom, right? Is it really is building that sense of leadership and the things that you hope to accomplish, and to, you know, live out your passions. So we definitely encourage students to start their own clubs on campus for sure. I would, oops. Okay, I would like to request if you can go over the housing options for students. Yeah, let's do that. Let me go ahead and get my screen up here. That way I can show you. Okay, let me come back. Okay. All right. So I think you'll be able to see here, this is everyone moving in. But yeah, so this will be housing and residence life, okay? So this will talk you through, that's more of the, I guess, the nuts and bolts of the application process. But all of these here, these will be your housing options, right? So let me just do this one. Hopefully it'll go okay. So yeah, there'll be different videos that you can watch. These are two of the largest housing options, where a lot of the freshmen start out, okay? So because they're the largest ones. But yeah, so there'll be different videos you can watch. It'll tell you a little bit more about each of the information. And then the other really cool thing is you will be, this talks you through just floor plans, layouts, and you can watch the video as well. But the other really cool thing is that when it comes to roommate assignments, yeah, you will be with an American roommate. So we have, you know, when we have the US people apply for housing, they say, yes, I want to live with an international student. If they do want to live with an international student, then that's who we'll be pairing you up with. So you'll get to live with people that are passionate, you know, about learning, you know, who you are, your culture, your food, everything like that. So it's a really nice experience, and, you know, it really broadens your perspective and helps you to meet, you know, some US friends as well too. Okay, so let me go ahead and I will see. Okay, all right, so next question is, I am a parent and I'm worried about the protests taking place in Minneapolis. Would it affect Eau Claire also? Yeah. Thank you very much for bringing this up. And, you know, even as someone living in the US right now, right, I'm also very concerned about what's happening. And it's a very real thing for us to be going through. It's quite emotional, as you can imagine, as well, too. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a valid concern for everyone, right, across the world right now, and especially in the United States. You know, I think it's something that, you know, I've lived in a lot of different countries, and as I've learned, anything can happen at any time, right, anywhere. And you know, there's a lot of things, you can take the precautions, you can take safety measures, and yet, you know, no one can ever guarantee anyone's safety 100%. What I will tell you is Eau Claire, we are located about an hour and a half, an hour-ish, okay, away from Minneapolis. But Minneapolis is a very large city. Yeah, it's like Chicago, very big, very well known. And Eau Claire is a much more small residential community. And one of the things I guess I can tell you about is our host friend program, which is where we have, if you imagine, you know, the signs at the airport, Sarah, welcome to India, you know, like this. So very much like that. You know, someone will be there to pick up your child from the airport, and they'll have a 2-day homestay with someone in the Eau Claire community. And so whether it's a, you know, retired couple, you know, a young family with kids, so they'll have a 2-day homestay with a US family if they so choose to participate in this program. It's free. It's part of the, you know, coming to the US, as part of our, you know, welcoming students. So they'll have a 2-day homestay, and then their family will drop them off, the student off, at orientation and to move into the apartment, or the dorms, everything like that. And so this is something like in our community in the like fall spring semesters, we have roughly I think this past spring we had roughly around 80 students, yeah, that had host family placements as part of the, you know, the 2-day homestay. And so this really speaks to the community, I think the Eau Claire community, in just how welcoming. Imagine that, you know, 60 people, 70 people are opening up their homes on a semesterly basis to welcome in the international students and make them feel at home, and you know, to really help them become part of the community and part of their families. So you know, very much I accept and I understand, you know, us also as US people, we are very much concerned about the protests. And you know, there's not much that I can say that will take that concern away. But I think it is knowing that hopefully, you know, with the situation now, that hopefully it can get better from here. We can always hope that it'll get better from here on out. And but yeah, in Eau Claire, I do feel as a woman, like I do feel very safe. I walk at night, I'm, you know, I don't feel concerned. I feel very comfortable, very confident. I live on my own there. You know, so for me it's always been a really safe place. Our campus also has security officers, so we have our own security on the campus that, you know, students can call anytime they need something. um, and as of now with COVID too, right, we're also taking different health measures and different precautions as best we can. So I do really appreciate you bringing this up, because I know it's been on everyone's minds and hearts. And you know, I hope that, you know, it's so unfortunate what has happened. And we can just hope that, you know, the dialogues will help turn into, you know, better understanding, and make the United States a more safe place for everyone. So um, I hope that helps to answer your question. But as of now, yeah, we're really just trying to make sure, because of COVID as well too, just trying to keep everyone safe and healthy. Would your admission requirements differ for January 21? Okay, yeah, I can share my email. I can put it in here, or I'll put it up on the screen at the end maybe, if that's okay. So admission requirements are the same whether it's for Jan or for September intake. The good news is the scholarships are also the same. So I know sometimes people think, oh, if I'm coming for spring, there's no scholarship left. No. Um, we see each scholarship on a case-by-case basis. We don't have a set of money that once I give it to you, I don't have for the next person. No, we see each person for the, you know, what their scholarship amount should be, and that's what we award. So that's good news for you, that if you are planning to come in Jan, you know, due to COVID and due to, you know, the protest happening now, we have had a lot of students defer to January 21 intake. And so the application for that is open until November. So very much the application is open now for Jan intake, and we are very much accepting students for that time too. I just completed my 11th standard. I'm entering in 12th. Would admission be more competitive next year? Because I'm hearing many of the current senior class students deferring. Sure. To be quite honest, it may be more competitive at other places, but for us, we're very much open and welcoming of, you know, students whose candidacy, whose application fits exactly what we're looking for. So I would say at our place, you know, if, you know, we feel that you are a fit candidate to be admitted, then you should have absolutely no issue at all. I can understand your concern, and I would say yes, probably some seats will be filled, you know, at other universities. But to be quite honest with you, with COVID right now, that's happening, you know, a lot of US universities have lost almost all international enrollment, you know, so everyone is going to be very happy for your chance to apply. And if you are planning to come, I think many universities will be understanding about the situation. And you know, we're also trying to deal with everything as well too, as, you know, you the students. So just know that, yeah, we're very much open to having you apply, you know, once you finish your studies. And you know, I don't necessarily think it'll be more competitive, but just more people will be applying. But also universities have had to change, right, their status quo and what they're doing as well too. So yeah, I wouldn't put too much concern on being able to, you know, find out if you're, you know, admissible or not based on how many people are applying, because universities that, right, see the value in the students and see the value in everything that you have to offer will be ready with open arms and willing to accept you. What is the requirement for getting credits for doing IB diploma subjects? Yeah. Let me go ahead and see if I can show you on our website. I'm just going to pull it up quick. That way you'll be able to see. Okay. Okay, perfect. I will go ahead and try sharing again. Okay, I hope you can see this okay. Let me go ahead and put this down here. So yeah, on our website here, if you just type in, all I did was type in IB, and this is what came up. So this just talks about sending your scores, course-specific credit. And so I just clicked on this one, the course equivalency. So this is if you're taking any AP exams or any IB level exams. You can go ahead and just type them in there, click search, and then the equivalency of what score you'll need to have and what it will transfer in at will pop up. Okay, so this will be a really, really great resource for you. And like I said, you just type in International Baccalaureate here in the little search bar there, and then you'll be able to go through and find that. Okay. 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 All right, and can you share what practices your campus is taking for safety precautions for classrooms and housing in light of COVID? Yeah, absolutely. So right now we are looking at being on campus for fall, like many universities are. And, you know, we're working with the government, you know, Wisconsin government, the national, and as well as our city government, who's advising us on, you know, what we can and cannot do, what are the safety precautions, you know, everything like that. I know there's been talk, because I know one of the questions was in for the classrooms. One of the things that we're really looking at doing is what we call more of a hybrid learning. So where you will be in person in the classroom, but then also some of your coursework will be completed online. So really to give safe distancing and everything like that. You know, there'll be options to look at more of that in person, but as well as online options, especially for this coming fall. And in terms of housing, they are looking at making proper arrangements to make sure that, right, everything will be sanitary, everything will be safe. You know, how are they checking people, everything like that. And, you know, I travel quite a bit for my role. I've been to India, I think 5 or 6 times now. And so, you know, when I was traveling through there, Malaysia, Thailand, you know, this past, February, March, January, February, March, I was in Guatemala, I was in Honduras, and each country is really, you know, handling everything in their own way. And so, you know, as things start opening back up, as embassies will open up back up for visa appointments, everything like that, you know, it really will depend how airlines are also handling. Are they doing, you know, COVID checks before you get on the airplane? Are they doing it when you arrive in the United States? I mean, a lot of those things will also be being planned out, which is something we don't necessarily have control over. But at our university, just know that we are working with our government and our health officials to make it as safe as it can, you know, as safe as it can possibly be at this point. And if for any reason, I mean, we were for fall, right, this fall now, or sorry, this spring term now, we were completely in person, where I was in Malaysia traveling, and, you know, all the schools in Malaysia were already online, you know, so the COVID is rippling in different countries at different times. So it really will, you know, we'll just have to keep a close eye on it. And if for any reason, you know, I know in South Korea, they just opened their schools back up, and 3 days later they were shut because they just, you know, they realized it wasn't safe for everyone. So I just think right now, you know, each country's handling it in its own way. But then also we as people have to be responsible and ethical, right? And make sure we're doing our part for humanity. And if for any reason you, your family don't feel safe or don't feel comfortable, like, I'm definitely here to have that conversation with you. and to answer anything that I can, and to be as specific as I can to help you make the best decision that you can make for yourself and for your family. So it looks like those are all of the questions that we have.
And
um yeah,
thank you so
sorry,
much, Sarah. I
we're
think this was
way
one of
over
the best
time.
sessions that we had. Thank you. Thank you for answering. I know there were a lot of questions in there, but thank you so much for answering all of these questions.
No, I also am very grateful. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of it, and I'm sorry we went way over time.
No, I'm sorry. We hope we didn't take too much of your time, but I
Oh
think this we
no.
were pretty enthusiastic about all the information that you've shared. So thank you so much. And
Yeah, thank
I'm going to
you.
run a quick poll, just the end of session poll in case people are interested. We can um, uh, fill in our responses just to gauge. And I think most of the students have found it useful. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for all your kind time and support. I'm not sure if you can see me, but am I on?
Yep. Yeah, you're there.
I'm there. Okay. So thank you so much. And I also wanted to take this opportunity. I know it's very early in the morning out there. I really appreciate all the insights and all the facts and figures and charts and tables that you've shared. This was definitely one, like as I said, one of the most insightful sessions that we've had. Something I was very excited about, and I would like to invite the attendees to come forward and please thank Ms. Tara Stackhouse. And Sarah, just a kind question. If you can just put in your email address in the chat box, that would be
Yeah.
helpful. So interested students can and parents and guidance counselors can be in touch. And before we conclude for the day, I wanted to inform all the students and counselors and everyone who's present here that this session is recorded. It will be shared with your high school and also all the other high schools in your communities, so that counselors can learn more information, students can learn more information, of course, be in touch with Sarah in the future. And once again, just want to thank you so much for your kind time, for joining
Yeah.
us this morning, and it was a lovely presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you all
Okay,
stay safe. Yeah, and have a good night.
thank you so much. Have a great day, Sarah. Thank you.
Yep.
Take
Thank you.
care. Stay safe.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.